Hi students, welcome back to video lecture series. As we have been uh, listening classes and watching video lectures in the part of anatomy, that is we are in the chapter of digestion and absorption. So we are back with our I am back with a new video lecture. So in this lecture we will be covering further the topics which are left in the digestion and absorption chapter. So as usual we will start our lecture with the quote. So here is a beautiful quote for you. Keep working until one day you can say scalpel please. See, this quote is directing us, it is telling us, it is reminding the day on the day we become a doctor and we are in the operation theater and we say that scalpel please. So to get that day in our life we need to keep working, keep working, keep working. So this hard work will definitely will lead us to that, to see that day in our life. On that day we can say that scalpel please. So now we'll go into our topic. Here is a beautiful diagram, beautiful anatomy diagram showing digestive system. So mainly we are discussing the topics to be covered in this lecture are small intestine, large intestine and their functions. So here is a diagram which is showing completely the small intestine, large intestine. Okay, you can see all the parts here. You can see the parts of small intestine. So after the stomach you can see there is a U-shaped structure, that is when the stomach opens into this part, that is called duodenum, and this duodenum will open into another part that is called jejunum. This will open into another continuous part of small intestine, that is called ileum. So after the ileum, then there is a junction called ileocecal junction. This after the ileocecal junction, this ileum opens into the part of the large intestine, that is cecum. So cecum will continue. Cecum is the part which will have appendix, and it will continue as a ascending colon, and here there is a transverse colon. You can say this complete part, this is complete part is a transverse colon, and this is a ascending colon, and here will come down as a descending colon. You can see all these parts here, and here is a sigmoid colon also. There is a curve in this colon, that is a sigmoid colon, which opens into rectum, and rectum will open into anus. So all these things we'll discuss detailedly in this chapter, in this video lecture. So small intestine. Small intestine is distinguishable into three regions. C-shaped duodenum. Here you can see duodenum. Long coiled middle portion, jejunum. That is completely coiled middle portion, jejunum. And there is a highly coiled ileum. The opening of the stomach into duodenum is guarded by pyloric sphincter. So there is a sphincter from the stomach to duodenum. So whenever the food present in the stomach, now it is called chyme. So this chyme, when it enters into the duodenum, it is guarded by a sphincter, that is called pyloric sphincter. Ileum opens into large intestine. This the last part of the small intestine, ileum, which opens into large intestine. As we have seen that there is a ileocecal junction also here. So with the anatomy of small intestine, we are going to observe clearly what is the things, what are the things present in the small intestine very clearly. So there are three parts in the small intestine. There are three regions in the small intestine, that is duodenum, jejunum and ileum. So these are separated with a color. You can see here in this diagram very clearly that this structure, this shortest region is a duodenum here, and jejunum is also seen with different color here. Next again ileum, highly coiled structure, is also seen here. So the duodenum is the shortest region. It starts at the pyloric sphincter of the stomach and extends about 25 centimeters until it emerges with the jejunum. So the duodenum is the length of the duodenum is the 25 centimeters. Duodenum means 12. It is so named because it is about as long as the width of 12 fingers. So 12 fingers, when we place the 12 fingers, it becomes 25 centimeters also. So the name duodenum means 12. The jejunum is about 1 meter long. So the next part of the next region of the small intestine after the duodenum is the jejunum. This jejunum is about 1 meter long and extends to the ileum. Jejunum means empty, which is how it is found at death. So then next, the final and longest region of the small intestine is the ileum, measures about 2 meters, highly coiled, and joins the large intestine at a smooth muscle sphincter called the ileocecal sphincter. So there is a sphincter between the ileum and cecum also. Next you can see that small intestine. Its length alone provides a large surface area for digestion and absorption, and that area is further increased by circular folds, villi and microvilli. You can see its length alone provides a large surface area for digestion and absorption, and that area is further increased by circular folds, villi and microvilli. Its length, small intestine, its length alone provides a large surface area for digestion and absorption, and that area is further increased by circular folds. Circular folds are also there, and also villi and microvilli. You can see villi and microvilli also. The small intestine begins at the pyloric sphincter of the stomach. It averages 2.5 centimeters in diameter. Its length is about 3 meters in a living person and about 6.5 meters in a cadaver due to the loss of smooth muscle tone after death. Okay, you can see that there is a villi and microvilli. There is a clear picture showing all those layers, histology of small intestine. Here is a picture. The wall of the small intestine is composed of the same 4 layers that make up most of the gastrointestinal tract: mucosa, submucosa, muscularis and serosa. So you can see all these layers here. Mucosa, here is a mucosa, and submucosa also there, and muscularis and also serosa. So all these parts are present here. The mucosa is composed of a layer of epithelium, lamina propria and muscularis mucosa. So mucosa is having lamina propria and muscularis mucosa. The epithelial layer of the small intestine mucosa consists of a simple columnar epithelium that contains many types of cells. Okay, the epithelial cells, simple columnar epithelium that is present in the mucosa, contains many types of cells. Absorptive cells of the epithelium digest and absorb nutrients in small intestinal chyme. Also present in the epithelium are goblet cells which secrete mucus. So there are goblet cells also there. These are openings of intestinal glands, you can see here, and there is a lining here of simple columnar epithelium, and you can see there are other parts. Mucosa is up to here, and submucosa here, muscularis and serosa. So in the part of the histology of small intestine, we will see a small portion of the small intestine very clearly. This is the enlarged portion. We can see here the microvilli. You can see the microvilli present in absorptive cells. Okay, you can see here the microvilli are there. Okay, the villi present on absorptive cell, they are microvilli. Next, this is absorptive cell which is present in the epithelial layer, columnar epithelial cells present in the wall of the small intestine, and there are goblet cells. This is an intestinal gland actually. There are goblet cells which secrete mucus. They are enteroendocrine cells that secrete the hormones secretin, cholecystokinin, this type of cells, and Paneth cells. There is a one type of cell present in the mucosa, that is the epithelial columnar cells. In the intestinal gland, all these cells are present, secretes lysozyme and is capable of phagocytosis. So it is the cell which is capable of phagocytosis. It also secretes lysozyme. So this lysozyme kills the bacteria. The small intestinal mucosa contains many deep crevices lined with glandular epithelium. Okay, these deep crevices, cells lining the crevices from the intestinal glands, crypts of Lubercum, and secrete intestinal juice. So these are columnar epithelial cells which are present in these crevices. Besides absorptive cells and goblet cells, the intestinal glands also contain Paneth cells, enteroendocrine cells. Paneth cells are enteroendocrine cells here, and we have seen the enteroendocrine cells in the stomach wall also. They are G cells. Here Paneth cells secrete lysozyme, bacterial enzyme, and are capable of phagocytosis. Three types of enteroendocrine cells are found in the intestinal glands. Three types of enteroendocrine cells are found in the intestinal glands. S cells. So there are S cells. They secrete secretin hormone, and there are CCK cells. They are called cholecystokinin or CCK hormone, and K cells secrete glucose dependent insulinotropic peptide or GIP, insulinotropic peptide. Okay, so this hormone is secreted with the help of K cells. Okay, next, the lamina propria of the small intestinal mucosa contains areolar connective tissue and has an abundance of mucosa associated lymphoid tissue. This malt, will come across this malt in when we study about lymphoid tissues. So here in the lamina propria you have malt. Malt is nothing but mucosa associated lymphoid tissue. Groups of lymphatic nodules referred to as aggregated lymphatic follicles, nothing but Peyer's patches, are also present in the ileum. So these Peyer's patches, they are nothing but groups of lymphatic nodules referred to as aggregated lymphatic follicles. So these Peyer's patches are also present in the ileum. Okay, the submucosa of the duodenum contains duodenal glands, that is Brunner's glands, which secrete alkaline mucus that helps in neutralize gastric acid in the chyme. Okay, in the duodenal submucosa, there is a gland called Brunner's gland. You have to remember this. So these Brunner's glands are present in the duodenal submucosa, which secretes alkaline mucus. The function of this alkaline mucus is to neutralize the gastric acid in the chyme. So the chyme which is present in the stomach is acidic. So to neutralize it, the alkaline mucus is secreted by submucosal Brunner's gland. So this is the NCRT diagram. You can see very clearly. It is showing the villi. and it is showing lacteal capillaries. This one is the NCERT diagram. Okay, now we'll go with our second topic of this lecture, that is the large intestine. So you can see the clear picture of the large intestine here. It consists of cecum, colon and rectum. So this complete part is the cecum. Here this is the cecum. This part is the cecum. Okay, this small portion into which ileum opens is called cecum. Cecum is a small blind sac which hosts some symbiotic microorganisms. So there is a main role of the cecum is that it is giving shelter to some symbiotic microorganisms, and it is also having a narrow finger-like tubular projection that is called vermiform appendix, which is a vestigial organ arises from the cecum. So this vermiform appendix which is present here, you can see clearly. So this appendix is the part of the cecum. The cecum opens into colon. The colon is the largest part of the large intestine. The colon is divided into three parts, that is ascending colon. This is the ascending colon, this is the transverse colon, and this is the descending colon. And in the descending colon there is another part that is called this is the sigmoid colon also. The descending part opens into the rectum, which opens out through anus. The large intestine, which is about 1.5 meters long and 6.5 centimeter in diameter, extends from the ileum to the anus. Structurally, there are the four major regions of the intestine are large intestine are cecum, colon, rectum, anal canal. These are the four major regions. So you can see it very clearly in this diagram. The opening from the ileum into the large intestine is guarded by a fold of mucous membrane called ileocecal sphincter. So there is a sphincter which guards the opening from ileum to the cecum. Hanging inferior to the ileocecal valve is the cecum, a small pouch about 6 centimeters long. So this attached to the cecum is a twisted coil tube measuring about 8 centimeters length called the appendix or vermiform appendix. You can see both of these, cecum and also vermiform appendix. The open end of the cecum merges with a long tube called the colon, which is divided into ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon and sigmoid colon. So you can see here, this is the ascending colon, this is a transverse colon, this is a descending colon, and this is a sigmoid colon. Okay, here is another clear beautiful diagram for you to observe it carefully. You can observe this diagram very carefully so that you can put an image of this all these diagrams and you can mix this with the concepts and get a clear idea how the veins and arteries and how the blood supply is present to the small intestine and large intestine, and also how these are arranged and how the histology of small intestine and large intestine. You can see all this very clearly in this. So try to remember the parts: ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, rectum, ileum, and also the veins, mesenteric veins, and all the veins here. This is a very clear diagram showing all the parts here. You can see that there is a ileocecal valve showing in this diagram. It is opening here. Ileocecal valve. Ileum is opening into ileocecal valve, through the ileocecal valve into the cecum. Okay, large intestine, we'll see The ascending colon ascends on the right side of the abdomen, reaches the inferior surface of the liver, and turns abruptly to the left to form the right colic hepatic flexure. The sigmoid colon begins near the left iliac crest, projects medially to the midline, and terminates as the rectum at about level of the third sacral vertebrae. The rectum, the last 20 centimeters of the GI tract, lies anterior to the sacrum and coccyx. So you can see that the rectum lies anterior to the sacrum and coccyx. These are the last vertebrae. The terminal 2 to 3 centimeters of the rectum is called the anal canal. So this is the 2 to 3 centimeters. This is the anal canal here, and this is the rectum. The mucous membrane of the anal canal is arranged in longitudinal folds called anal columns. So these are the anal columns you can see here. These are anal columns here that contain a network of arteries and veins. The opening of the anal canal to the exterior, called the anus, is guarded by internal anal sphincter. You can see the internal anal sphincter here. This is the internal anal sphincter which is coming from here. Okay, this is a involuntary, this is not under our control, and external anal sphincter, after it there is another sphincter, that is a external anal sphincter of skeletal muscle, voluntary. So internal anal sphincter is made up of smooth muscle, and external anal sphincter is made up of skeletal muscle. So the internal anal sphincter is involuntary and external anal sphincter is voluntary. Normally these sphincters keep the anus closed except during the elimination of feces. So histology of large intestine, we will see. Portion of the longitudinal muscles are thickened, forming 3 conspicuous bands called the tinea coli. You can see here in the large intestine, you can see this tinea coli that run most of the length of the large intestine, and there are tonic contraction of the bands gather the colon into a series of pouches. So they are called haustra, which give the colon a puckered appearance. So for colon, it is giving a puckered appearance. Puckered appearance means it is the appearance like this. Okay, this type of appearance is due to the bands, the tonic contraction of the bands gather the colon into a series of pouches called haustra. So the presence of haustra gives the colon a puckered appearance. The functions of the large intestine: storage of undigested food, absorption of water, amino acids, ions, vitamins and bile salts, secretion of bicarbonate ions and mucus to neutralize the acidity produced by bacteria. Bacteria convert bilirubin to urobilinogens and stercobilinogens. Some urobilinogens are absorbed into the bloodstream and then excreted in urine. The urobilinogens and stercobilinogens remaining within the colon are converted into urobilins and stercobilins by exposure to oxygen. These pigments in various portions give faces a yellow, brown or brown color. So you can see that the faces have their color due to urobilins and stercobilins. Bacterial action breaks down peptides that remain in the faces and generates ammonia, indole and scatol, hydrogen sulfide, a gas with a rotten egg odor. So these are primarily responsible for the odor of faces. So if for faces we have a different odor. So that odor of faces is due to ammonia, indole and scatol and hydrogen sulfide. The complex polysaccharide cellulose provides a reliable nutrient source for bacteria in the colon. The metabolic activities of these bacteria create small amounts of flatus or intestinal gas. Foods with large amounts of indigestible carbohydrates such as beans stimulate bacterial gas production. So distension of the colon, cramps and the frequent discharge of intestinal gases can result. So this will end with our lecture. What are the topics whichever left out, we'll go with the next video lecture. If you have any doubts, you are free to contact me through WhatsApp and text messages also. Until then, bye.